What's going on, guys? Kalipa's Tech here, coming back at you with another video. This is the beginner's guide to the BLU G50 Mega. In this video, I'm going to be showing you some tips and tricks for the BLU G50 Mega that you're going to want to know about when you're using the phone for the first time. This is going to be great if you're new to Android or smartphones in general and need a few pointers to get up to speed with things. Before we go any further though, I do want to remind you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. And now, let's get into the video. So the first thing I want to show you is how to change your wallpaper. Pretty basic function. What we're going to do is go to Settings, Display, and Wallpaper right here. And now you can choose between live wallpapers, whatever you have in your photos, and pre-installed wallpapers on the phone itself. Now there's another way you can do this and a few other functions while you're at it. So all you gotta do is press and hold one finger on the home screen itself, and this little menu is gonna come up. You can change the wallpaper from here as well, and you can also edit your widgets and home settings. It's really cool. You can find all this stuff in the settings menu, but it's even better when you're setting up your phone for the first time to be able to get it all from one screen. The next thing I'm going to show you is how you can control your sounds. So we're going to go to the settings menu, sound right here. And as you can see, we have a few different sounds that we can edit. Media volume, pretty self-explanatory. Whenever you're playing any type of media on your phone, whether it's a video you're streaming or a song you're listening to, whatever it may be, and this includes games and apps, that's all going to be controlled right here with the media volume. The call volume is actually nothing to do with your ringtone. This is actually how loud your actual earpiece is going to sound. The ring volume, now this is for calls and text messages. The alarm volume, again, pretty self-explanatory. If you have an alarm set, this is going to control your alarm volume. Now, for whatever reason, this phone doesn't vibrate by default, so you're going to have to turn it on here. You can also turn your phone on Do Not Disturb, and you can also change the ringtones as well. The next thing I'm going to go over is notifications. By default, most notifications for most apps are just going to be turned on. So sometimes you might get a notification from an app you don't want to hear from. A lot of times these notifications are really not even about anything that anyone cares about, and they can get a little annoying and overwhelming if you get too many of them. So let's take a look at how we can reduce these notifications that you might not want to get all the time. We're going to go to Settings, Apps and Notifications, hit Notifications, and now you're going to see all the apps that sent you notifications within the last 7 days. I don't know why it's 7 days instead of all the time, but this is pretty much it. Whenever you get a notification from an app you don't want to hear from, you can come to this screen and simply disable it, and then you won't get a notification from it anymore. Here, you can also decide whether or not you want notifications to show up. Here, you can also decide whether or not you want notifications to show up at all on your lock screen. And you can also disable sensitive notifications. So if you get a notification with sensitive information, then you can make sure that's not going to show up on your lock screen where other people might be able to see it. The next thing I'm going to show you is how you can change the system navigation. Right now, we see the classic 3 buttons that most Android users are familiar with, but there's also another type of navigation called gesture navigation that you can use if you want to. To get there, we're going to go to Settings, System, Gestures, and System Navigation right here. By default, this phone is set to 3-button navigation, but you can also activate gesture navigation by selecting it. With gesture navigation, there are no more buttons, just a little bar right here. And as the name implies, all you need to do to navigate around the phone is use a few different gestures. So to go to the home screen, swipe up like this. To go to your recent apps, drag your finger up from the bottom. And to go back, swipe from left to right or from right to left. It doesn't matter which way you do it, just as long as your finger goes from one side to the other. Just as long as your finger goes from one side to the other. This is really going to be something that's based on personal preference, so I suggest you try both of them out and decide for yourself which one works best for you. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to turn on and off the auto rotate screen function. So all you need to do is drag your finger down from the bottom and hit this button. When it's highlighted, that means auto rotate is activated. So when we go to something, for example, let's go to Google. We're on Google Chrome's homepage right now. And since auto rotate is on, if I turn the phone to the side, it's gonna go like this. And then when I turn it back, it's gonna go right back. This can be really useful for certain situations, but really annoying for others. So if you wanna turn it off again, just go to the same spot, disable the button, and now when you turn the phone to the side, it's not gonna do it anymore. The next thing I'm gonna show you is how to take a screenshot. Not every phone takes screenshots the same way, so I'm gonna go over this so you know how to do it on this one. All you need to do is press and hold the power key and the volume down key at once, and then the screenshot's gonna show up. You can edit it from this little bar here. It'll also show up in your notifications, and you can edit it if you want, or delete it right from there. The next thing I'm gonna show you is how to change the lock on your screen. This is basically how your phone is locked. This is basically whether you're gonna be using a PIN or a password or a pattern or something like that to unlock your phone. And you can also turn on and off the face unlock and fingerprint scanner. So we're gonna go to settings, security, and screen lock. It's gonna have you put in your current PIN, and now you can choose whichever type of screen lock you want. Now, if you wanna set up the fingerprint scanner or the face unlock, this is gonna be in a different spot. So what we're gonna do is go back to the security menu, and you can see the fingerprint and face ID are right here. Whichever one you wanna set up, you can hit either of them. And the on-screen instructions are gonna walk you through setting up a fingerprint or your face. Keep in mind, you can actually use both a fingerprint scanner and face unlock, so I recommend activating both of them. So if one isn't working out in a certain situation, you can always use the other as a backup. The last thing I'm gonna show you is how you can look at your storage information. This phone has a decent amount of storage on it, but at the same time, it is still important to get into the habit of taking a look at your storage every now and then so you can be sure you're not gonna fill it up unnecessarily. To do this, we're gonna go to settings and open storage right here. Now you're gonna see what percent of the storage is actually being used, how many gigabytes are being taken up, and what things in the phone are actually taking up this storage. As you can see, right now the system is taking up the most space with 7.3 gigabytes. If you ever have a lot of junk on your phone, you can always hit the free up space button, and this is gonna take you to a separate spot in your phone where you can go through your apps and files and that sort of thing and decide which things you really need on your phone and which things you don't. But this was my beginner's guide to the BLU G50 Mega. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you found these tips and tricks useful as well. If you want to learn more about the phone, don't forget to check out my full review of the device on the channel. And for more tips and tricks like this, definitely check out my tips and tricks video as well. But that's it for this video. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. But as always, I will see you in the next video.